All right, folks, we're now recording. Hello, Parul.
Hello.
Jenna, you're here as well. I always feel like I'm in the middle of for those of you that are as old as I am, we used to have romper room, and who can I see in the square window? I can see David and Danielle. Welcome everybody to another Talent Table webinar. We're having lots of fun doing these. We took a break from them after doing multiple events during COVID. I swore I'd never be online again, yet here we are. So I'd like to welcome you all. And before we begin, I'd like to recognise that the Aboriginal and First Nations people and Torres Strait Islander people hold a very special and unique place in our country as the original owners and custodians of the land and the waterways of the Australian continent. We pay our respects to elders past and present. I'm living here on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we welcome you from whatever land you're joining us from today. And I guess because Caelen is sitting in New Zealand at the moment, I should say Kira Ora to you. Have I said it right?
Excellent pronunciation.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, that Australian accent gets you every time, doesn't it? All right, folks, so we invite you all to put your screens on and participate. I'm going to hand over to Caelen. We've been talking for a couple of weeks now, and we thought it was about time we had a bit of fun and had a bit of playtime, and we learned all how to be playfully productive. So, Caelen, over to you.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for inviting me here to talk with this wonderful community. I'm excited to spend some time with all of you today. We're going to be having some fun. As you can probably tell from my accent, I am an American, and I'm an immigrant to New Zealand, and I live on the South Island of New Zealand. Being an American means that, I'm descended from generations of immigrants who've left their homelands to seek better fortunes across the sea. And this also means that I have an absurd work ethic that I'm trying to recover from. And the lessons from this journey of getting more done in good cheer and gamifying your work, this is what I hope to share with you today. Now, to begin with, I'd like to know how you would rate yourself on the scale of dog. Which one of these dogs most closely matches how you feel? Open up the chat box and type in a number and let me know which one of these dogs matches how you feel today. Are you a number 5? Are you a 3? Great, we got some 5s, some 3s, got a 9. Excellent. Great. Feeling cute with number 6? That's great. That's great. Now, I know that some people are dog people and some people are cat people. So now I'd like you to rate yourself on the scale of cat. Which one of these cats most accurately matches how you feel today? Great, great. Got some 9s. Got an 8 because of the hair dryer. Excellent. Great. Now we're going to be playing a lot of fun games today. And what I'd like you to do to begin is I'd like you to get a sheet of paper and I want you to draw a box on this paper. Okay? And in this box, this is going to be your treasure chest. I want you to write 3 things in this box during our time together today. And I don't know what those 3 things are yet, but these are 3 things that you're going to discover that you can use in your own virtual meetings. But I don't want you to attribute them to me. This treasure chest is for pirates. What I want you to do, me hearties, is I want you to be pirates today. I want you to put on a pirate mask and steal 3 things from me that you can use yourself. You don't have to say, I learned this from Caelen. You don't have to do it. Just be a pirate. And the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to put these on. There's a stop video button in your Zoom toolbar. And next to it is an up arrow. And I want you to hit that little up arrow next to the stop video button. And then you're going to go to video settings. And when you're in video settings, you're going to get this pop-up. And I want you to go to background and effects. Okay? Now, when you're in background and effects, it's one of the options on the left-hand side. You'll see the virtual backgrounds. And next to virtual backgrounds, there's an option for video filters. That's where I want you to go, is into video filters. And there's all sorts of video filters in here. And I'd like you to try some of these video filters on. Excellent. Great. Great. Now, if you want to see everybody, if you're not seeing the Brady Bunch grid, you can go to that view button in the upper right-hand corner if you're seeing me big and go from speaker view to gallery view. Once you find something good, I'd like you to come over into gallery view so that you can see everyone and share your silly filter.
Oh, look at Melissa. She's a beautiful cat. Mine's not working.
It's not working?
Mine says none.
Me too.
Some of these are glitchy. It depends on your version of Zoom.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, we get to enjoy everybody else then. Nandita, you look gorgeous in your little headscarf.
Great. Well, I want to invite you to use these during our workshop today. Feel free to switch this around. If you have the avatars next to video filters, there's ways that you can actually turn yourself into animals. So my apologies if you're not able to use these, but if you are, then there's some really neat things that you can do in Zoom meetings. And if you get a little bored during our meeting today, you can feel free to switch over and put on an avatar and play with this. Because all we're going to do today is we're going to play some games. I'm going to give you some information about gamification and productivity, and we'll play some games throughout. Well done, Foxy David. Well done, Steve. Look at that. That's great. Great. Now, so for our next game, I'd like to ask a question in the chat box. And I want everybody to write an answer to this question, but don't hit enter right away. I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds. And at the end of that timer, everybody hit enter at the same time. Okay? The question I want you to answer is, what's the hardest thing about staying productive? Write your answer in the chat box, but don't hit enter yet. What's the hardest thing about staying productive? Wait to hit enter. We're all going to hit enter in 3, 2, and 1. Great. Lots of distractions. Staying interested. Keeping motivated. Getting distracted. Yeah. Getting tired, fatigue, distractions. Interest levels. Yeah. Great. These are great answers. Great answers. Now, the good news is all of these challenges can be overcome with play. What we're going to talk about today is how to gamify your work so that you can get more done in good cheer. When you treat your work like a game, you're going to overcome distractions. You're going to stay interested. You won't be bored. You know, we often treat our work as this big pile of stuff to do. And the larger that this pile gets, the more difficult it is to get through it. And that bigger backlog just drags you down and it lowers your motivation to actually get it done. I like to take advice from the 7 dwarfs with work. You know the 7 dwarves, those little guys in Snow White who work in the coal mines all day, and they whistle while they work. They found a way to enjoy their work, to make it fun. And getting things done while having fun, that's something that makes a lot of sense to me because I started my career as an acrobat in the circus. I've always seen my work as play. And the harder the work is, the harder I have to play to get through it. Play isn't just limited to games. I mean, games are everywhere, right? We play games and we watch games all the time. Every sporting event is a game, whether we're the ones playing it or we're just watching it. They captivate our attention. Every board game keeps us involved from the beginning of the game to the end. Nobody needs to bribe a video gamer with a paycheck to get to the next level. There's something intrinsically motivating about a game that makes people want to play more. Games are everywhere in our world. And people think that games are the opposite of work, but I don't think that's true. Dr. Jason Fox says people don't play games to avoid work. We play games to engage in well-designed work. He wrote this great book called The Game Changer, and he said that every game has three things. It's got goals, rules, and feedback. That's what makes a game. Clear goals, constant rules, and iterative feedback. A lot of times when we get frustrated with our work, it's because we don't have clear goals, because the rules are changing, because we're not getting feedback. But if we treat our work as a game, then we can get more done and have fun while we're doing it. Now let's play a game right now. All right, we're going to go into breakout rooms. And I'm going to give you a question to answer in the breakout rooms. And the question is this. For everybody that's in the breakout room, how many things do you all have in common? Okay, so I'm going to put 2 to 3 people in a room. And if you don't want to participate, you can come back to the main session. If you get lost, come back to the main session. And I want you to keep count. I'm going to give you 2 minutes in the breakout room. How many things do you all have in common? Come back here in 2 minutes and keep score. All right. Send them a little broadcast message, set my timer. Oh, you're on mute.
Harold and Jeanette and Rachel, are you not in a room?
They might just be listening in.
Yep.
During this game, people often lurk. You know, they might have it on while they're doing some dishes or dealing with squalling children. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just glad that you're all here. So how many things do we have in common, Andrea?
I can't juggle if that helps.
Well, that's something we don't have in common, but we're both wearing a necklace. That's one.
Wearing a necklace. Yes.
Yep.
We both have eyebrows.
We have eyebrows. That's 2.
Yeah. And we have children or child.
Yep. Children, that's 3.
Yep. We've both been to New Zealand.
We have both been to New Zealand. 4. We've both been to Australia. That's 5.
Yeah. There we go.
Have you been anywhere else?
Oh, well, I lived in London and traveled around Europe a lot.
I have not been to England, so that doesn't count.
Oh, what? You haven't been to England?
I haven't been to England. I know.
Chris McGowan, are you back joining? Do you want to come and tell us? We're trying to find all the things that we have in common.
I accidentally exited Margaret. There's Melissa. Hello.
There's Melissa. The two of you lost each other, did you?
Yeah. Can I take tech issues? Does anyone else suffer from tech issues?
All the time. yeah.
There we go. Common.
I'm the person that when they're paying on their phone, their son rips it out of their hand as he rolls his eyes, going, "Oh, Mum, you're a dinosaur."
But that's the role of the younger generation, to make fun of us for not being as technically savvy as them.
Yes, exactly.
Welcome back, everyone. What was your score? Type it in the chat box. Let me know how many things you had in common in your breakout room. Who got the high score? Got some 5s, got a 12.
12.
Done, Trish.
Wow.
I think you might have the high score, Trish. We got some 8s. Ooh, got a 10. Great. So, Trish, how did you get so high? Tell us about what happened in your room.
Well, we just went through very, very quickly. So there was 2 of us in the room and spoke about all the things that we do. We're both mums. We both travel, we both live in Australia. We're both human. We both have children. We both love eating. We've seen and traveled most of Australia. We both work too much. Love sports, love the beach, love online shopping. We're both female and we both wear glasses. So
Wow, well done. That's great. The best I've ever heard in this game is when somebody said, "How many bones do you have?" Oh, we've got all the bones in common, and there's 206 bones in the human body. All right. I'm going to mute everybody so that we can... Ooh, whoops, not myself. Sorry about that. All right. Now, I appreciate you playing that game with me, because playing games is one of the best ways that we can have more fun in our work. And all it takes is just a little moment to play something together. And all of a sudden we have this connection between the people that we met and even the people we didn't meet. We had a shared experience. Zoom fatigue is one of the modern crises of our times. And I mean, just check in with yourself for a second. After that game, are you feeling Zoom fatigue? No. Because you were asked to play. I love what Dr. Stuart Brown said. He said, the opposite of play is not work. It is depression. If we really want to improve the cultures in our workplaces, having clear goals, constant rules, and ongoing feedback, it gives us a way to put joy into our work. You know, Sir Richard Branson is pretty good at work and play. And he says, I've never really understood why so many people separate work and play. It's all living. We should be able to have fun at work and bring out the best in each other. And isn't that what we want out of our employees and out of our teammates? To bring the best of themselves into their work? You know, productivity can feel like a grind if we treat it that way. When you just see your work as a list of tasks to endure so that you can get through it, it makes it harder to do. And play can feel like it's silly, but it's actually really effective in deepening relationships and refreshing your mental state. And I'll give you an example. We're going to play another game. We're going to play rock, paper, scissors. And this is a game that I play in virtual events and hybrid events. This is me at a recent conference. I was the hybrid speaker up on the stage, and I was playing with people in the audience and online. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to come into gallery view. So if you're still seeing me big, I want you to go to that view button in the upper right-hand corner and go from speaker view to gallery view so that you see the grid. And give me a thumbs up when you see the grid. Great. Excellent. All right, Steve, I know that cows don't have thumbs, but I'll just assume that you got it. Great. Okay, so to play this game, rock, paper, scissors, everybody's going to play against me. Okay? To play this game, there's 2 parts. And the first part is you have to show your rock, your paper, and your scissors to the camera. So show me you know how to do a rock, You know how to do a paper, and you know how to do a scissors. Great, great. That's the first part of this game. The second part of this game is to turn your camera on and off. Hit that stop video button and show me you know how to turn your camera on and off. Great, great, well done. Okay, so those are the two parts to this game. I'm gonna say rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and I'm gonna pick one. If you beat me, leave your camera on. If I beat you, turn your camera off and turn your microphone on and pick somebody to cheer for. If you lose a round, you're going to become part of the cheerleading squad. You're going to turn your camera off, turn your microphone on, and start cheering loud for somebody in the grid who you want to win. If we tie, you get to choose. You could stay in for the next round, or you can become a cheerleader. Does this make sense to everybody? Can I see some thumbs? Great. All right, put your thumbs away and make a rock, because we're going to play first round. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. It's a scissors. If you picked a paper, turn your camera off and turn your microphone on and start cheering for somebody in round 2. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Go, Alex.
Vicky.
It's a rock. It's a rock. If you had picked scissors, you're now a cheerleader. I want to hear some loud cheering for round 3. Rock,
Goodness.
paper, scissors.
Oh,
Shoot.
Jenna.
Katie.
Hey,
Paper.
I think
It's
we have
paper.
Yeah.
Nobody picked a rock. We're in for round 4. Ready? Rock,
Oh,
paper,
Go on, Alex.
scissors.
Go
Go,
ahead.
Ella.
Come on, Katie.
It's paper. It's paper. Rocks are now part of the cheerleading squad. Into the final round. Ready?
Go, Ella.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Go,
Go,
Kelly.
Ella.
It's rock. Oh
Oh,
man, we're
Lynn.
down to the final 3.
No, well,
Let's do
2.
one more round. Rock,
Come on,
paper,
Phil.
scissors, shoot.
Go, Ella.
It's scissors. Oh man, we got to do this again. Rock, paper, scissors,
Go,
shoot.
Kelly.
Go, Ellie.
Oh,
Oh.
one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ooh.
Boom!
Oh,
Ella and Kelly, you have tied. Everybody, turn your cameras back on and give a round of applause to Ella and Kelly for winning the game. Well done. Well done. So check in with yourself. Are you feeling Zoom fatigue? No. This is the power of play. Play demands your attention, so that we can't help but participate. This is why I'm so passionate about bringing play into work, is because it makes work better. So I find it really interesting when I look at this book. This book is called Flow. It's about the psychology of optimal experience. And the author, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, is a Hungarian psychologist, and he defined 8 characteristics of flow. He said that when you're in a state of flow, you've got complete concentration on the task. There's a clarity of goals and reward in mind and immediate feedback. Does that sound familiar? When you're in a state of flow, time transforms. It can feel like time is speeding up or slowing down. And the experience itself is intrinsically rewarding. I didn't have to bribe anybody to play that game. The game itself is what was fun. People in a state of flow experience effortlessness and ease. There's a lack of struggle and strain. And there's a balance between challenge and skills. There's a merging of action and awareness, and you feel a sense of control over the task. Now, is this describing a state of work or a state of play? Or maybe a little bit of both? The author says once we realize that the boundaries between work and play are artificial, we can take matters in hand and begin the difficult task of making life more livable. When we're working, we should enjoy our work. When you're in a state of flow, it feels like play and it feels like work because there's a balance between something you have mastered and a healthy challenge to help you to grow. As James Taylor said, the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Time passes faster when you enjoy your work, and you have more optimism. Work is easier to do when it's fun. So if you have something hard to do, turn it into a game and make it more enjoyable. That's how we get more out of our limited resources of time and energy. Joy helps us get the most out of what we've got. According to a study by Gettysburg Research, we spend up to 1/3 of our life working, which is 90,000 hours. That's a lot. Do you want to spend 90,000 hours in drudgery and toil? Or do you want to enjoy the time you spend in your life working? Do you want to have a meaningful challenge where you're given a rich sense of progress? Because that's what happens with a game. We can view our work as games already if we look at it the right way. We often see this in collaboration, where we're coming together with others and we're brainstorming and we're having an experience together. And sometimes that feels like work. It feels like drudgery. It feels like toil. But sometimes collaboration creates deeper relationships. There's a synergy that happens where 1 + 1 = 3, and you enter a state of flow. That happens when you enjoy your work. And it happens when we play. One of the greatest thinkers in theatrical improv is Viola Spolin. And she says that play touches and stimulates vitality, awakening the whole person, mind and body, intelligence and creativity, spontaneity and intuition. And isn't this how we want people to show up to work? With their whole selves? We don't want this little slice of a person that thinks they ought to be here, that resents it. But if we can get somebody like this, somebody who's bringing their whole self into the work, do you think you're going to get better results? Yeah. All right, so let's play another game. So if you're seeing me big, go to that view button in the upper right-hand corner and go into gallery view so that you can see the grid. Give me a thumbs up when you can see the grid. Okay, so there's 2 parts to this game. This game is called high fives to the side. And we're going to do high fives to one side or the other. And there's 2 parts to this game. And the first part, you already know how to turn your camera on and off. And the second part is you need to put your hand, oh man, dang it, my green screen's in the way. Hang on. I can't put my hand all the way to the side without showing you backstage. So here, to play this game, you get to see me backstage. There we go. Okay, great. So now I want you to see where the boundaries of your box are. So hold your hand up to one side and your hand up to the other side. All right, great. That's the first part of this game. Second part is turning your camera on and off. I'm going to count to 3. And on the count of 3, you're going to pick one of these sides to give a high five to. And then you're going to reach your hand over. If you connect, leave your camera on. If you don't connect and they leave you hanging, turn your camera off. Okay? All right. So we're going to all do high fives to the side on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Give a high five. Did you connect? Leave your camera on if you connected. Turn your camera off if you didn't connect. And we'll do another round. Okay? Great. Okay, next round. High five to the side. 3, 2, and 1. Give a high five. Did you connect? Turn your camera off if you didn't connect. Leave your camera on if you did. Okay, next round. High five to the side. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Pick a side. Did you connect? Leave your camera on if you connected. Turn your camera off if you didn't. Okay. Now, those who have your cameras off, watch closely. Pick a side. High five to the side in 3, 2, and 1. Give a high five. All right. Leave your camera on if you connected. Turn your camera off if you didn't connect. That's weird. Wow, how interesting. All right, Nandita is the winner. Everybody give a round of applause to Nandita. Well done. Turn your cameras back on. Great. Now, did anybody notice that sometimes you would see somebody connect and they turn their camera off? Or you'd see somebody who was left hanging and they left their camera. Did anybody see that? Yeah, why did that happen? Somebody take yourself off mute. Tell me why that happened.
Our views are different.
Our views are different. What do you mean? Say more.
So what I see is different to what you see.
You're right, Trish. You're right. And you're right practically as well as metaphorically. The grid that you see is not the grid that the rest of us see. Everybody point to Trish. Where's Trish in your grid? Great. Look at that. All over the place. Point to Steve. Where's Steve in your grid? Yeah, oh, he moved for me. Great. Point to Johanna. Where's Johanna in your grid? Yeah. Yeah. What you see in Zoom is not what everyone else sees. When you're in a virtual meeting, it's hard to remember this because we think that what we're seeing is just like if we were in a room together. And we're all in the same room, so we're all seeing the same stuff. But there are ways in Zoom where you can, a host, can I do this as a co-host? Let's see, does everybody see me in the upper left-hand corner now? Yep, and then you see Johanna? And then you see Nandita? No, it didn't work that way? Shoot. Sometimes this is one of the hard things about Zoom is sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But there are ways where you can move everyone. Oh, no, I can't do it. Sorry, I thought I could do it. There are ways that you can put everyone in the same order, but Zoom changes things around, so I don't have it. So I'm just going to spotlight myself and take over the spotlight again so that we can continue. Well, I really appreciate everyone playing this game with me. Thanks for playing high fives to the side. This is an example of a game that you can play just to get everybody enthusiastic and paying attention. I'm going to put a link here in the chat box for one of my ebooks. This is the Zoom host checklist. And this is full of games and activities that you can do. There's step-by-step instructions. Some of the games we played today are in there. And there's paragraphs you can read to get people to facilitate these games. And so this is my gift to you, one of the ways that you can lead more games to have more fun. And I find that games are so important because of this idea called the progress principle. And this was first talked about in the Harvard Business Review in 2010. And they analyzed the data from daily diaries of employees from a multitude of different industries. And this was a really big study. They had 50,000 journal entries, and they wanted to identify what happens on the best days. On the days where employees rated, they had the best day out of this went for 5 years. Tens of thousands of people with daily journal entries. And on the days that employees ranked their highest, the findings were really surprising. Because everyone in management thought, well, on the things that are important to employees are their remuneration, their benefits package, their amount of responsibilities, all this stuff that it turns out they didn't care about. What the employees found most important was regular, ongoing feedback that let them know that they were doing well or how they could improve. And so the progress principle was developed to identify how do we help employees understand the progress that they're making. one of the best ways to illustrate their progress is by celebrating when they level up. By playing games, we use the principles of games to illustrate progress. Now, I have a whole workshop on the neuroscience of incentives, and I'm not going to get into the hormones in the brain that create emotions in a specific order that happen to correspond with the 5-act structure. I could go down this rabbit hole for hours. Instead, I just want to talk about this first column of the incentives of gamification. And I want to talk about all 5 of these. And I'll give you a way to get these slides at the end of the workshop today. But this first one of chapters, it is how you break a large goal into smaller sub-goals. Studies have shown that a journey of 1,000 miles is really easy to quit. But smaller attainable goals along that journey make it much more likely that we finish. If I ask you to read a 300-page book, it sounds kind of daunting. But if I ask you to read a 15-page chapter, that's something that you could do in one sitting. Dividing up big projects into milestones and chapters can make more digestible chunks for employees to work on. So that's the first gamification technique I want to share with you, is chapters. And the second is experience points. If you play video games, you've probably encountered experience points at some point. And all experience points is arbitrary points for completing arbitrary tasks. And the game master can assign any amount of points for any type of task. But they only work if you keep score. If there's some dashboard where people can measure their progress. And the great thing about experience points is you can create chapters that help you level up. The journey from beginner to expert has a lot of different chapters in between. In martial arts, the white belt was given to novices that begin their studies. And the legend was that after going on adventures and defeating your enemies, that your belt would become so soiled that it became black. And that's how you knew a master, is because their belt was black from all of the journeys and adventures and combat that they'd faced. But about a century ago, in Taekwondo, they realized that having different grades of belts, it gave closer milestones. So that somebody who's at white belt and is having real challenges, if they see the journey to black belt 1,000 miles away, it's easy to give up. But if there's a shorter chapter that's closer to attain, it's more likely that they're going to stick with it and get to the next level. So that's the third gamification technique. And the fourth is badges. I love badges. I was a Boy Scout as a kid, and I didn't care about the rank. I cared about how many badges I had on my sash. And being able to collect badges kept me involved long past when I probably would have dropped out of the Boy Scouts. But knowing that there were new skills that I could learn and new badges to attain, it leveraged this phenomenon that's described by Dr. David Rock in the SCARF model. And Dr. Rock is a neuroscientist, and he found that people will move towards activities that bestow status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. And people are repelled by tasks that threaten these things. So if you want to incentivize your team to do something, offering status or certainty or autonomy or relatedness or fairness through something like a badge is a great way to keep people engaged. And the final concept I want to share with you is the finish line. And the finish line gives us something to shoot for, a reason to accelerate. You know, it's funny, if you look at the distribution graph of people who run marathons, then there's this huge spike for everybody who finishes just under 2 hours. there's a big spike in the distribution graph of people who have run the 4-minute mile. Lots of people have run it in 3:59. Not a lot of people have run it in 4:01. Because if you're good enough to run a mile in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, you might put on that extra burst of speed to reach the finish line and attain a goal. This is the whole theory behind closing your rings in the Apple Watch. It gives you this leverages the progress principle. It gives you a visual dashboard to let you know how close you are to your goal. It gives you feedback. The feedback that makes a game, goals, rules, and feedback, structuring this in makes work more enjoyable, and it gives us a reason to excel. As the poet Robert Browning said, man's reach must exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? So I like play because of what it does, not just to the people involved in it, but to the team. Something here. Oh, my app is not loading. Never mind. I might have to. Oh, here we go. Great. Sorry. Thank you for dealing with these technical difficulties. So, with any work environment, there's 3 overlapping areas. There's the team, there's the work, and there's the individual, right? And there's overlaps between these areas. In the overlap between you and the team, that's the culture. That's the relationships that create the culture of your work. And in this overlap between the team and the work, that's collaboration. That's how well people play together. And in this overlap between the work and you, that's the capacity. That's how much can get done. Now, what a lot of people think is, if I want to increase capacity, that means that I need to increase the amount of work, or I need to increase the number of hours. But they're overlooking this final overlap way in the center here. In the overlap between all 3 of these circles, that's play. And if you increase the amount of play, then you increase the collaboration and the capacity and the culture with the same number of people on your team, with the same number of hours worked, just by increasing this overlap in the center and bringing more play into the work. You can improve the culture, the capacity, and the collaboration. So that's the reason why I'm so passionate about bringing play into the workplace, because I think play can help make work better. It helps us improve. It helps us get more done. And it helps us enjoy the time that we spend together. So I talk about play a lot in my Playful Productivity program, where I profile a bunch of books that have popular productivity frameworks. And one of them is The 4 Disciplines of Execution. This book was written by Sean Covey, who's the son of Dr. Stephen Covey. And he wrote it with 2 other business consultants. And they went into a bunch of huge companies and implemented this process, their productivity process, from the Franklin Covey time management system, which you might have heard of. And they identified these 4 disciplines that all the best companies had. And these are those 4 disciplines. The best companies, they said, focus on the wildly important. They act on the lead measures, as opposed to the lag measures that happen after the work, the lead measures that inform the work. They keep a compelling scoreboard and create a cadence of accountability. And it's this 3rd one that I want to talk with you about, because this is how you measure the progress principle. how you give feedback to a team. And there's ways you can do this yourself. There's a really fun exercise that I like to do called a star sheet. And with a star sheet, all you have to do is take a piece of paper. This is zoomed in a whole lot. 1 second, please. Oh. All right, I'll just do it like this. This is a full piece of paper. It's usually not zoomed in so far. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's all part of the show. So what I'm going to do with this piece of paper is I'm going to divide it in half. And then I'm going to divide these halves in half and divide those halves in half. So I've got 8 somewhat equal columns. They don't have to be perfectly equal. This is just for you to gamify your own work. And this is a really fun exercise. It's super low tech and easy to do. You draw one line across the top and you draw an X in the first box because we don't need that one. In the next box, you write an M for Monday and then a T for Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and so on. And you write the whole week, Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And then you write a line for every goal that you want to gamify, every habit you want to track. And in this first column, you write everything that you want to do. So, like let's say you want to make 10 phone calls every day, and you want to get to inbox 0 so that your email is completely clear. I used to use this when I was doing acrobatics training, and so I'd have 30 backflips, and that's something I could track. You could, read a story to your kid, whatever you want to track. And then every day that you do this, you draw a star. You can either draw a star or you can get some star stickers. This makes it really fun. I went to public school when I was a kid, so I'm a sucker for a gold star. And when I put one of those on there, I really feel like I've accomplished something. And it's a reward that gives me great satisfaction. But more importantly, this becomes my compelling dashboard. I can put this up behind my computer or on my office door, and on every day that I finish my goal, I put in a star. And I don't have to finish every goal every day, but over at the end, I can put in rewards. If I get 5 stars, then that gets a bottle of wine. If I get 7 stars, then that gets a massage or whatever, I create rewards that incentivize my participation. Chocolate, great idea, Andrea. Yeah. Although I don't know if you can deprive yourself of chocolate just because you didn't, it's kind of necessary, like you can't do without chocolate. And so sometimes, but whatever rewards work. Maybe it's an extra bar, maybe it's a special mocha. But if you can find those incentives that would compel you to do the activities that you're having a problem doing, and you use the neuroscience of incentives to keep that compelling scoreboard and view your activity dynamically, step by step, moment by moment, then it makes it much more likely that you're going to attain your goals. Now, I'm going to give you one more example of how I gamified some workshops. I was working with a New Zealand organization, and they had terrible slides, and they had all this content on it, and they were teaching these 8-day virtual workshops. Whoops, sorry about that. There we go. They had these 8-day virtual workshops, and people were zoning out. They weren't paying attention, and so they hired me to come in and make them fun. And so I created games and exercises from the educational material, and I redid the lesson plans, and I trained the trainers on how to facilitate these games. So that instead of giving them this slide, instead I said, give them this link. And this is a link to flippity.net. It's a tool I love to use. And everybody got their own manipulative board so that they could drag and drop and move these sentence fragments. And the first half of each sentence is in color, and the second half is in white. And so the game is to have everybody play with the content. and move them so that you have colors on the left and white on the right, and you mix and match them to figure out what's the right sentence here. What is it we need to focus on? When do I need to report back? And they play with the concepts in a deeper way than just seeing this big blob of content. And so I offer this to you as an example of how you could take work that people are finding boring. There's resistance. They're not having fun and they're not engaged. How can you turn it into a game so that they do want to play? So that after they play the game, when you say, okay, now I'm going to read this slide to you, they have a greater understanding of what the content is they're supposed to be learning. So we're coming up to the end of our time here. And as I said, I'm going to give you a way to get the slides, but there's just a couple other concepts that I want to share with you. And it has to do with when we're busy, when we're stuck in busyness, when there's so much to do, you don't know how to get it done. And that's what I find productivity especially helpful for. I do a lot of productivity training where I integrate play with these kinds of books. First Things First by Dr. Stephen Covey, Getting Things Done by David Allen, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, and the 25-minute meeting. And finding ways to gamify all of these, to turn what seems like boring productivity into something that's actually fun. You know, to take the 25-minute meeting as an example, spoiler alert, here's the formula for a 25-minute meeting. Donna McGeorge, wonderful author, she says that in a 25-minute meeting, you should be able to scan what needs to be done, focus what's going to happen, and then make plans to act. And if you tweak this just a little bit, you could put in 2-minute games. And those 2-minute games can create a really fun meeting where you can get things done. I've listed a lot of 2-minute games in the Zoom host checklist. I've also got a bunch of content in this playful productivity program that I teach. It's a 4-set workshop program. It goes through a whole bunch of different areas that I think really improve how we work. And the reason why I think that productivity training is kind of broken is because time management sucks. But time management can be completely changed if we frame it in play. As Jill Viollet says, play matters because people matter. It reminds us of our interdependence and gives us a chance to really see other people. And in turn, to be really and truly seen. And this is what's going to improve a culture. Is when people feel like they know each other, that they can trust each other, that they can count on one another when things get tough. Play gives us a low stakes opportunity to practice challenge. And that helps us develop the resilience that we need to solve hard problems. People who play are better at failing, and people who are better at failing are more likely to count on one another when things get tough. So I'd like to offer you this ebook, Gamify Your Work. It's a 16-page PDF, as well as all the slides that I've shared with you today. So I'm going to put 3 links here into the chat box, and I'd like you to open these up. The first one is for a survey to give me some feedback on the presentation today. You could take this anonymously if you like, but if you'd like to subscribe to my newsletter list, this is a great way for us to stay in touch. The second link is for my LinkedIn profile. Please connect with me on LinkedIn because I just listed today that I am open for work and looking for a position. And since I'm in a room full of people in talent acquisition, I thought you're people that should know that I'm out on the hunt. So if you're looking for talent, I'm talented. And the third link is to schedule a conversation with me. If you would like to have me in to talk with your team about playful productivity, about how to get more done in good cheer, I love giving this presentation, and I'd be happy to give it to other organizations and to talk more about the challenges that you face in developing your own culture, your capacity, and your collaboration. And if there's a way that I can help with that, then I'd be interested in having that conversation. So I know we're up near the top of the hour. So if you need to skedaddle, then feel free to hop off. But I'm going to stick around for a little bit. If anybody would like to have a chat about Zoom or about play or about anything we've discussed today, then I'm happy to stick around and chat. And I want to thank Andrea for setting this event together and for inviting me to talk with this community. So thanks so much, everyone. It's been great playing some games with you.
Thank you, Caelen. I think we're so used to this now, folks. I think we should give him all a big clap on the screen. Yay! Look, I really enjoyed that because, and Nandita will tell you, we did an event last week about designing our life, and it suddenly occurred to me that since COVID, I seem to have lost my sense of fun, my sense of play, and really questioning what I'm doing. That will all change next week, folks, when I start traveling around the country again and run events. So I love being in front of people much more than I enjoy sitting here in an office. So I enjoyed that today, and I think it will be just fascinating. I'm going to actually start to think about how I can incentivize myself to pick up the phone call to those vendors and get the sales in so that they sponsor our events, so I can offer them our events free and at a greatly reduced cost. So, and I'll be giving myself more than chocolate at the end of that. Folks, does anyone have any questions or comments? Just take yourself off mute and come up and have a chat. Nothing? No? Are you all going to start putting games into your Zoom calls now?
I got to run, but thanks, Caelen. I'll connected with you on LinkedIn, so I'll
Great.
definitely reach out. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Andrea.
Pleasure.
Thanks,
And
thanks,
for those of you, I'm not sure if I'm sharing it at the moment and it's not working. Of course it's not working, because why would it be working? I did have something up on my screen where I was sharing our next events with you, and it's completely disappeared. Here it is here. So for those of you that want to come and talk about inclusive hiring, it's still not working the way it's supposed to work. I am running these events around the country in the next month. So for those of you that want to come and join in for the day and talk about inclusive hiring, particularly as it relates to disability and neurodivergence, scan the QR codes and get yourself along to those. Caelen, thank you so much for your time. That was a lot of fun. I look forward to talking to you on Thursday to see if we can reinvigorate me a lot more. And folks, thanks for joining in and being such good sports. And I hope to see many of you at our events through August. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Have fun
Bye.
out there.
There we go. Oh, look, Jeanette's my my marketing person, so she has come online and then just disappeared off. All right. There you
Great,
go.
that was really
I think we
fun.
made a few connections there.
Yeah, I think that went really great.
Yeah, no, it was good fun.
Yeah.
So there are about, oh, hang on, let me do the stop video. Let's stop recording again. I keep stop recording. There we go.